So we just talked about John, our diligent salaried employee who's all set to file on time. That's definitely the ideal scenario. But let's face it, life happens, and sometimes we find ourselves in a bit of a time crunch. That brings us to Sarah's situation. Sarah, like many of us, has been procrastinating. It's April 14th, and she suddenly realizes her taxes aren't filed. She's understandably worried about penalties. Sam, Taylor, what options does Sarah have to avoid those penalties? And what should she do right now?
The good news is, even though it's down to the wire, Sarah still has options. Her best bet is to file for an automatic 6-month extension using Form 4868. This pushes her filing deadline to October 15th.
So if I understand correctly, filing Form 4868 gives her more time to actually submit her tax return, right? But it doesn't change the date her payment is due.
Exactly. The extension is for filing, not paying. She'll likely owe interest on any unpaid tax, and if she significantly underestimates her tax liability, penalties could still apply.
That's a crucial distinction, Taylor. Think of it like asking for an extension on a library book. You get more time to return it, but you still accrue late fees if you haven't paid any outstanding fines.
That's a helpful analogy. So what are the immediate steps Sarah should take? It's already almost the deadline.
She needs to file Form 4868 today, either electronically, through an IRS e-file provider, or by mailing a paper form. It's crucial she gets it postmarked by April 15th. Also, even though she's getting an extension, she should estimate her tax liability and pay as much as possible with Form 4868. This will minimize potential interest and penalties.
Right? Even if she can't pay the full amount, paying something is always better than nothing. It shows good faith and reduces the amount accruing interest. Sam, how does she estimate her tax liability if she hasn't even started preparing her return yet?
She can use last year's tax return as a starting point, adjusting for any major changes in income or deductions. There are also online tax calculators that can provide a rough estimate.
This reminds me of what we discussed in previous segment about gathering tax documents. Even though Sarah is filing for an extension, she still needs all her W-2s, 1099s, and other relevant documents to accurately calculate her liability, right?
Absolutely. Getting those documents together should be her top priority, right after filing the extension.
So to recap, if you find yourself in Sarah's shoes, don't panic. File for that extension using Form 4868 immediately, estimate your tax liability, and pay what you can. And Taylor's right, start gathering those documents. Don't panic. File for an extension if needed, but prioritize filing as soon as possible.